Hello, everyone. Welcome back to part two of the new She Suite Trap Queens Redefining Success. I am here with one of my favorites. You wouldn't know that we've never met in person, but I just told you that, so now you know. But anywho, I am joined by Tina Marie, not Tina, Tina Marie Wohlfield, straight from Detroit in the closet. That's a different conversation we may get to. She's hanging out in the closet, not like R. Kelly either. She is the founder and chief people strategist at Teamawoe. She's passionate about human resources, leadership, and talent management, and has over 25 years of experience. She's an HR storyteller and author of Stop, Collaborate, and Listen, Developing Impact HR Partnerships Through Collaboration. She's a frequent speaker on all things related to how organizations support people. And then the way I got originally connected with her is that she is the co-founder of the HR community called HRUnite. They are a community for human resources professionals that enhance their capabilities through connection and educational programming. Tina Marie, how are you?
I am fabulous. And my intern, that's my intern. She's escaped in the closet. So the reason I'm in the closet today is in Metro Detroit. I am 6 miles north of city proper. So I am just on the border. We have like a high wind stuff going on. And so my house is shaking. So I'm in a closet that sometimes I hide in. But one of my 4-legged interns has snuck into the closet and she's like, the door's closed. So
no problem.
Anyway.
Listen, keep the 4-legged interns and the 2-legged interns very safe. We're here for it. All right. So let's jump in. I'm excited to have this conversation. Success, as you know, is often defined in traditional linear terms. So what's your job title? How much money do you make? Where do you work, etc.? How do you define and measure success? And how has that definition evolved from your early days in HR to founding Teamawoe and co-founding HRUnite?
So that is a really interesting question to self-reflect on. And I will also celebrate the fact that in HR, we don't lead by title. Our titles do not define the work we do. It's the impact and the interactions we have. And it took me a little while into my HR career to figure that out. And the irony of that, I was grocery shopping, and somebody that I had to help transition out of the organization stopped me, and I'm cracking jokes. It was aisle 8, which was the coffee aisle, which I am a big fan of coffee. So I was in aisle 8 and somebody stopped me. And when you have interactions like that, you're like, don't make eye contact. These people, what were they going to say? I was perceiving it awkward. They stopped me and they thanked me. And they said that the way that whole process was handled, they were grateful for how I handled it, but they needed that nudge. That was their time. They were in a role that they were not aligned with. So they were struggling and they needed to go, but they didn't know how. And at the time it felt wrong, but they were so grateful in the way that I handled that because I treated them as a person. I didn't shame them. We just had an honest conversation and I tried to give them a soft landing as much as possible. And so the work we do in HR is we are people supporting other people. And we have to step back and remember that we are humans too. And we need to treat each other with respect, compassion, honesty, and transparency. And every interaction, it doesn't matter if somebody has a simple question or we're dealing with a complex issue where it's the worst time. So I'm going to say the best of times or the worst of times. We still have to, at the end of the day or at the end of that interaction, realize that our interaction is impacting somebody else as much as it's impacting us. And I tend to treat people the way I wish I would be treated. And there's times where we struggle and we have to be accountable, but I would hope that somebody would be compassionate and honest and transparent and not treat it as a sterile transaction. And so once I kind of figured that out, and it wasn't about the processes, it wasn't about, being in compliance, because in HR, we live in a world of risk management. But it reshaped my whole perspective and how I approach everything in HR. And even in educating leaders. So leaders always kind of it doesn't matter if you're new to the organization or you're new in a role, somebody is basing the interaction they're about to have with you based on an interaction they had with an HR person before that wronged them. And wronged them, or it wasn't the outcome they were looking for, or something along that. So they have these biases they bring into that conversation. And we have the ability as people to just allow employees to be seen and heard. And that's how I approach my interactions. I don't jump to conclusions. I give them the opportunity to present. I acknowledge their perspectives. I provide them with the information they need to be part of those conversations. And it's all, we're treating them as people. Let them be seen, let them be heard. And even at the end of the day, if that outcome isn't the outcome they wanted, they will treat us with respect, similar to that interaction I had in aisle 8, where that person hugged me and said, thank you. Like, I didn't think I'd be getting a thank you for terminating somebody, but I just helped them realize and providing feedback of the reasons why, so they could take that, process it, and move on. And they did, and they're very successful in their career, and they're doing great.
I wish I had an HR, even a TA leader like you. When I was in corporate, I tell people I spent the longest amount of time at a large defense contractor, and the VP I supported, who always found a way for me, he moved on, he was about to move on. But even 2 years before that, he was like, it's time for you to go. What's your next move? Like, he was always pushing me like, it's time for you to go. I'm like, no, I'm doing so good. Now I'm doing this. He was like, what do you want to do? Do you want to be in charge of TA? Yeah, I do. You're not going to be in charge of TA here. So it's time for you to go. What do you want to do? And I never would leave. So every time a new project came up, they gave it to Kirsten. Every time a new initiative came up, they gave it to Kirsten. Every time they wanted to get me out of the office, they sent me away, and I'll go do something. And it got to the point where after my safety nets were there, so all of my VPs I supported were gone. Like, the TA team looked completely different. I was in the business now, but I wasn't a part of the business that supported me and that was there for me. And they laid me off. Like, they had to literally kick me out. Mm-hmm. So I wish I had someone tell me that beforehand, so that I can make that choice, or at least not be unprepared for that choice. That says a lot about you, and I appreciate you sharing that. That's awesome. Oh, like I said, I wish I had someone that told me that.
Whispers, nudges, kicks, and shoves. So your leader that you reported to was... I
didn't report to them. I was...
You supported them.
Yeah,
so they were a stakeholder, but they were nudging you to say, you've done all you can. It's time for you to go. And when we get comfortable and we get like, we don't want to lean into the uncomfortable, because if we move, it's
now what? It's like, what do I do now?
But so whispers were there, the nudges were there, the kicks were there when all the rest of the people that knew you left, until the shove.
Yeah.
And sometimes we wait too long, but that shove needed to happen.
It sure did. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't get shoved out, I should say. Mm-hmm. All right. Enough about me. People don't care about me. They care about you right now.
Well, I care about you, but that's okay.
Yeah, but this is about you. I know you just said that titles don't matter, but so now I'm rethinking how I structured this question. But as a chief people strategist, you're a title that you have. You work at the intersection of organizational leadership and human behavior. How do you build trust with both the organizations you advise and the employees whose experiences you're working to improve, especially when those two groups don't always see eye to eye? So I need another answer, because you kind of answered that in the first one. So I need another.
Oh no, there is another answer. Is that one of the ways that I build trust with leadership and with the employees that I support as a steward of people is I will provide them with information, but it's hard to walk in. You can't walk into a leader's office, CEO's office, and say no, because then they're going to rebel and they're going to act like a tantrum, and they're going to do it anyway. So part of how I've taken that as a people strategist is you got to understand the operation and speak their language for one. But the other piece is that when they come to us for a solution, because there's a problem, I'm tired of firefighting. So I'm like all about proactive, holistic to, only we can prevent HR fires. So one of the approaches I do is with leaders is when we start having conversations and there's things where like, you don't want to do that. You present them with, here are the reasons why, or the considerations if you take this direction. So it's not telling them no, but again, it's helping make them an informed consumer to empower them to make the right decision. And that's helped me build trust because oftentimes in HR, we are the department of no. We come in and be like, no, you can't do that. Why? Because FLSA. No, and the people on the other end going, what does FLSA mean? Or what does this mean? I don't care. They don't care. They have a business issue and they have an immediate need. So having them to present them with facts, to present with them with information and do so without telling them no, you're helping them be an informed consumer. Because at the end of the day, Kirsten, all we can do is advise. And I have also learned not to take it personally. If I present all sides of the coin to leaders and they understand, here's what happens if we act, here's what happens if we don't act, here's what happens if we take this direction, here's what happens if we don't. Two things happen. They're going to make the right decision, or we're going to start talking and find a solution that we didn't even know existed that's even better than the ones we considered. So we have dialogue about it and we figure out the right path. So that allows you to build trust because there's a sense of understanding in dialogue instead of us coming in and being the department of no. I also try to empower leaders. So this is if I have two boys, one's in college, the other one is a junior in high school, but they've been around me long enough to know the HR face. And so one of the things, and again, this is a mannerism for me, is I will kind of, lightly tilt my head and say, help me understand. So when engaging in conversations is, I just need more information to allow me to better respond to your question. And what I have found in building trust with leaders is they have learned to pause instead of making prompt decisions. They start to pick up on that. And the best way I know I'm making an impact is when I have a fellow C-suite call me and be like, hey, I was in a meeting. And you know what? You'd be so proud of me is instead of me trying to tell them the answer, I paused and said, help me understand. Like I'm channeling you. Like, yes,
I love it.
You're using your inner HR voice. There is a blend between operations and the people within it. And I think my role as a chief people strategist, and not just building that trust. And that's the way I do build trust, is I do more listening than talking in meetings. The other piece is that we have to, as HR professionals, as TA professionals, no matter what segment you're in, our role is connect the people in the organization to the work they do. And the more we can find ways to do that, the better success everybody has. And you find that everybody wins. And so that's another way in engaging with conversations we can have as HR leaders. And that's how I've kind of approached it. I want to know if I jump in now that I'm not in corporate, because corporate doesn't look good on me anymore. Just saying, I love my people in corporate. It just, I'm the type of HR leader that wants to touch more than one thing, like 5 things. So call me a squirrel, but here's where we're at. Is the more that we can connect the work that people doing, I want to know about the nerdy things in the organization, like chasing the revenue. Where does the cash come in? The revenue cycle, asking questions about it. I want to know the terminology. I want to go out on the production floor and have conversations with people and figure out what they do and any barriers they have. That's my curiosity. And so the more HR is connected to the work being done, the better we can support the people that are doing the work itself.
I love that. And that's a great segue into my next question. You did co-found HRUnite, and it was to create a community where HR professionals can grow through connection and education. What did you see missing in the HR spaces that made you want to build that community? And how do you sustain meaningful relationships within it beyond just events and programming?
So this kind of goes back to the fact that we are people supporting people. And the true spearhead was we get wrapped up with what's going on into the four walls of the businesses that we support. We forget what's going on outside. And in HR, we are the worst. Like, we don't know how to network. We engage with people all day and we don't know how to connect with people. And so HRUnite was founded on this premise of really building impactful connections, because I, for a good chunk of my HR career, have been in an HR department of one or an HR department of few, I'm going to say. And who are you going to go to when you need support, when you need to have, I'm going to call it the sniff test, or you need somebody to give you an error correction or tell you that your thoughts are there, or help. I'm looking for new HRIS systems, and I know that you use this ATS. Does it interact? Like, I need to be able to connect and tap with that to make me a better supporter of the organization I serve. And we do that really bad. So when you go to a HR event, you might be in a room of 60 people and you sit at a table of 8 and you say hi and you introduce yourself, and that's the extent of the conversation. I needed something more. Yeah. And I am an introvert. This may not appear that way, but I am most comfortable in small group settings, having intimate conversations with people, because I want to connect with people on a meaningful level. Yeah. And so those are things that I felt that I was missing and I needed. It's not that we don't need the educational piece, and we go to the HR associations and the chambers of commerce and the lawyers that have the legal firms that have those educational opportunities. That's tactical HR pieces, yeah. But we need an accountability circle. And so that's really what HRUnite became. And after I left corporate, which I was nudged by a CMO, a chief marketing officer that I worked for. Oh. He nudged me to get out in my last corporate job. He wrote the foreword. He was one of the people that wrote the foreword to my book because he inspired the book. But in situations where when I left, I felt isolated. And so I went on LinkedIn, true story, in September of 2018. And I said, I'm going to be at a Big B Coffee. So Big B is a national change, but they're huge in Michigan. They started in Michigan. And I went to a Big B Coffee and I said, who wants to join me for an HR coffee talkie? 15 people showed up, and 11 of those 15 are still meeting the third Friday in the month at a Big B.
Love that.
And those people became my accountability circle. They became my champions. They're the ones that were giving me needed kicks and needed shoves when I needed to hear it. And those that I could go to, kind of like their accountability circle. And we needed that. We need more of those intimate connections you're not alone. And not for the sake of transactional interactions, but really, truly just meaningful support. And I call it group therapy.
I love that. Speaking of accountability, that's my next question. Your career has been built around helping organizations create equitable, people-centered cultures, but that work often requires leaders to hold up a mirror and be honest about where they might be falling short. How do you hold organizations accountable for real change, and how do you hold yourself to that same standard?
So I'm going to start with me first. And sometimes, and I learned this from a dear friend of mine that passed away a couple of years ago. His name is Gordon Thompson, but he taught me how to ask for feedback for myself. Like me going to those that I support, that I lead, that I interact with, and asking for honest feedback. And the first thing is as leaders, it's not about us. So in our one-on-ones, they shouldn't be tactical. They should be, let's talk about you. What can I do? Block, tackle. That's not how I always led. and I stumbled along the way, and I kind of learned that the people around me, the people I lead, are the ones that hold me most accountable. And so I started making sure that I was doing for them, and also stakeholders, and having conversations, because my perception of doing a good job for them or is different than what the expectations they want from me. So having that feedback mechanism, I think, is really important. Being able to self-reflect and realize we are not always right, and sometimes we're not meant to be. And the last thing that I hold myself accountable is the success of my people. I have always been a leader that I want to work for every person that works for me, and I'm okay with that. Like, my job is to help them succeed, and if they take my job, good. That means I'm doing the right thing. And I continue to have those conversations, because a leader's job is never done, with them. And they continue to challenge and help me learn and help me grow. But that kind of keeps me on my toes. And so another, I'm going to say, metric that I use is not the success and how I deem the people I coach, mentor, and support now, but it's, are they successful in the way they want their story to be told, like their path? It's not my path to determine for them, it's theirs. And so am I helping them be on the path they need to be, or removing obstacles, or doing what I need for them, not what I think that they should, what I want for them, but what they want for themselves. So those are ways I kind of hold myself accountable. And I do make mistakes, and I am the first person that steps up and say, you know what, I made a mistake, and I take ownership of that.
Yeah.
But the piece that I help leaders be accountable on, sometimes there's a lot of blind spots. Sometimes we can help them figure out their blind spots, but they need to want to be able to, they have to want it too. They have to want to change. Sometimes we can control what we can control, and we can't change or shift their perception. They are going to do what they're going to do. And so in those situations, I do what I can. And at the end of the day, when it gets back, all I can do is advise. Now, past corporate roles, I can end my relationship with them. So if we're not aligned, to say, you know what, maybe this relationship isn't working from a client perspective, and I will get to the point to say, I've done all I can for you. And it's time for me to go do it for somewhere else. I have an out. But in leadership scenarios, sometimes, as much as we try to make it work, some people, when you look in the mirror, they see something differently, and they don't want to see the reality. And we have to accept that of HR. Like, we can't change people. Yeah. We can help people change themselves, but we can't be the change agent.
I like that. Maybe we should get to a point where internally, if you're supporting an HR team, or you are the HR team in an organization, you should be able to break up with the leaders. That you should be able to do that. Mm-hmm. That should be a thing. Anywho, that's for a later show. With so much happening in today's workforce, we can talk about AI, we can talk about DEI rollbacks, we can talk about economic uncertainty, layoffs, all the crazy things that go on, not getting jobs reports that are accurate. What proactive steps should HR leaders and people managers be taking right now so that they stay ahead and protect their people?
I think, and it gets back to, as I'm going to let the crazy intern out of my closet laughing. She's like, set me free.
She's gonna be scared.
We need to continue to challenge and rethink and reimagine the way we deliver services to support the people in the organization. Okay. And we need not fear it. So if we become, I'm going to call intellectually arrogant to think that these technology advances, the environment to which we are operating, the talent, and the workforce. I'm a big advocate. I sit on a CTE, Career Technical Education Advisory Board, at a local high school. And so Workforce readiness skills are important, but if you don't think these things that are reimagining the way that work is done, or the environment, the way that is reshaping industries and how they deliver their services or the products they sell, then we are going to make our HR obsolete. We have to be informed. We have to be adaptable and flexible and look at these things. And when it comes to the DEI conversation, I think that we need to continue to advocate and be an ally and let our employees be seen and heard. And if we're continuing to do that, it makes complete business sense. And there's organizations that have not changed the way they do it. But what we need to be as stewards of people is help define that business case to say, when we do the right thing and treat people as people, then here's the direct correlation to revenues. Here's the direct correlation to our brand identity, to being, corporate social responsibility. There's so many things that you connect to that we shouldn't just be reactive. In HR as a whole, when we started out as personnel, we have always been reactive instead of being innovative and bringing those ideas in helping educate and empower the people within our organizations to test drive and not be afraid of failure. So all of these things are going to impact us. We can't be ostriches. We can't stick our heads in the sand. But I think we need to be going back to being an informed consumer and understand, okay, this is what's going on. This is how it could impact us. This is how it could impact us today. This is how it could impact us, 18, 36 months, and be more forward thinking instead of being in denial. Or being overly reactive. And, I get it. We hang out in risk management, but sometimes there is acceptable risk, and failure to act is more risk than failure to adapt.
I love that. I should have said clip that to StreamYard so that I could make that one of the headlines, because that was what they say, a bar, as the young children say. The millennials, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, we're at the last question of the main section, sadly, but I'm still going to get the rapid fire and have a little bit more fun with you. But thinking about our theme, the new She Suite, and your TEDx Detroit stage, your classroom, your consulting work, and your greater HR community, how do you see women in HR uniquely positioned to redefine what leadership looks like from the inside out? And what does that mean to you to be building a future in real time?
So I think that we need to be confident and find our voice and not allow, it doesn't matter if you're in HR, it doesn't matter what you do as a woman in the workplace or in society. We need to find the courage to use our voice and not have imposter syndrome. I think imposter syndrome is within everybody, but I think we have a lot of imposter syndrome in our profession, that we feel that our perception, our ideas don't matter, or they're dismissed. And so I think we struggle with that more from a female gender than on the male side. And that's a societal archetype. I don't know if I said that properly, but anyway, that's more of a societal bias. And we sometimes take that to heart. So I would encourage those that I think we just need to find our voice and be comfortable and be open to sharing that, and know that there's others out there that think the way you do. And for me, I go back to a time in HR where I almost left HR. I'm glad I didn't, but I actually was inspired by Steve Brown, and I was flipping the back of the HR magazine. He has, for a very long time, always had the blog in the back of the magazine. And I don't even remember, because he works at a small family-owned business. It's not that small. It's a pizza, La Rosa's Pizza. But it reminded me that the work I do matters. And it reminded me that my voice matters too. And so speak softly, bring facts, which I think is going to come up again in the rapid fire. But that, I think, helps. And be comfortable and follow your intuition.
Okay. I love it. Oh, yeah, it is time for the rapid fire. I'm always surprised at these answers. And I've learned to stop assuming or thinking I know what someone's going to answer. So I'm just going to jump right in because I'm open to learn now after how many seasons. Who's a well-known or a lesser-known historical or contemporary woman who inspires you and we should learn more about?
Okay, so there's an individual. She is actually from the Detroit area. Her name is Dr. Rita Fields. And Dr. Rita Fields, my favorite TEDx talk of all time, and she spoke at TEDx Detroit. Her session was from the trash can to the boardroom. And she was homeless. And she ultimately, she's an HR professional, worked her way up and was a CHRO level. And she was basically living and eating out of trash cans. Dr. Rita has such a spirit about her that is fierce and it's bold. And she is one of the people that helped me find my voice, to not be complacent. And the irony of it is I saw her speak at a conference and I was wearing my hair in a ponytail, and she was talking about, yeah, I used to wear my hair in a ponytail because it was easy and I got complacent. And the next day I went and cut my hair off. I was like, I cannot be complacent. So yeah, Dr. Rita Fields, just truly an amazing human and inspired. And she has shaped and that was 2016 was when I saw her speak. She was a keynote at National Association of African Americans HR State of Michigan Conference in Detroit. And I was like, I want to be like her when I grow up.
Okay, but I got to push back on Dr. Rita because who doesn't love a ponytail?
Well, again, I think her point was she had the same hairstyle for 4 years. And she's like, I always got to wear my hair in a ponytail.
Yeah.
And she said, sometimes you got to cut it off. I took it literal, which I did tell her this story later. And she was laughing. She's like, Tina Marie. And I was like, well, I did. I took it literal because
you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. So nothing against the ponytail. It was a synonym of remaining complacent.
That's a trauma response for me, though. I've told that story before. How I had someone who was in the C-suite. It was my day off, actually, and I shouldn't have checked my phone, but this person was in town. I didn't get to see them often, but they were a leader that was mentoring me, and said, hey, I'm in the office, come by. So I threw on something that was office appropriate, but I didn't have time to do my hair. I have a lot of hair. So I pulled my hair back in a ponytail, and that was their comment. Like, their comment wasn't our conversation or anything like that. The comment was about, I look like a child when I have my hair in a ponytail, and how do I expect to be taken seriously at this level or on this floor when I have my hair pulled back in a ponytail.
Well, that person is a horrible person, and I hope karma comes back with that comment again, dude, that's not, I think you have beautiful hair, and if you wear it in a ponytail, and I say this to anybody, you do you. Do you.
Okay, best piece of career. Yeah. Let's move on from the worst pieces, but best piece of career advice you received from another woman.
So I also had the honor of going to a Women in Leadership conference, and this was in 2014, where I heard Sally Krawcheck, who was she was like a VP of finance, CFO for like Citibank, and I'm trying to think of the other ones, but she was fired twice on the Wall Street Journal. She woke up one day and got the paper and found out she was fired twice in her career. And what Sally said to us, a bunch of women leaders in the room of all shapes, sizes, and colors, she said, speak softly, bring facts.
Okay.
And that, from an HR perspective, when I come in a room, I may know the answer and I might be like, here's why we shouldn't. But the way you engage and you build trust is to speak softly, and just let the facts speak for themselves. And I think that truly changed the way I was a leader, because I was always fighting for the table. I felt we need to have it. I was fighting. But fighting gets you nowhere. We earned it. There's no need for us to fight for something that we should be at. And speaking softly, bring facts allows us to validate we should be there and why they should be partnering and seeking our advisement.
I love that. Well, you're already an author, but I'm still going to ask this question. If you wrote a book describing your career so far, what would the title be? Besides Stop, Collaborate, and Listen. Sorry.
Yes. And that book was written in 6 months, inspired by a VP, a C-suite leader that I supported in my last corporate role, who said to me one day, "You're not like the others. You got a story to tell." And that is my life in HR. I mean, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So up to that point, and not a lot has changed since. It's still, we got 2.0, like Stop, Collaborate, and Listen, the remix. But
is there a remix to that song?
I don't know. Yeah, but I'm saying in my HR career, there is.
Okay. What is your guilty pleasure when it comes to indulging in women-centered pop culture, whether that's a reality TV show, a book, a binge-worthy series, a movie, some self-care, a recreational activity, etc.?
All right. So no judgment. No judgment here. Judgment. Talking to my sister, there's several of us in HR that follow this same horse breeder out of Tennessee. Her name is Katie Van Slyke at Running Springs Farm, and she breeds quarter horses, mini cows, and dwarf pygmy goats. And so I'm on full watch. So that's what I do. We're like trying to sit here. Did is Happy had her baby? How many days does she do? Yeah, that's my guilty pleasure with many other people. Many other people.
I love that.
So if you want to see, they're so cute. Mini donks, like mini donkeys. They're so cute. It's like, yeah, people watch cat videos. I'm watching horse.
I absolutely love cat videos. And that's why I don't have a cat, because it will probably slap me in the face when I'm trying to sleep. Because I didn't do something that it wanted me to do. Anywho, I love this. What's your go-to songs, or music genre when you want to hype yourself up to conquer the day?
So, it's likely Journey, Don't Stop Believing.
Okay.
Or Katrina and the Waves, Walking on Sunshine. But I have a music degree. So my music repertoire is like, yeah, I have a music degree. So
you're actually like a genius.
No, not genius.
But like music and science are like are connected.
So I was the placebo in that study, because I am not good at math. I'm good at process engineering and the way I think. I'm not good at math, because there's a direct correlation between musicians and that. So math, no good. I'm good at business math, but if there's letters in the calculation, no. But I do have a music degree. I studied voice. I studied jazz. I love music and genres and everything. And but I also love me, like I'm an Xer. So the 80s were the best generation, that 10 years music. It was the best.
Yes.
And I'm going to suggest to everybody listening, including you, Kirsten, there's a new game out there called Hitster, Hitster, where it uses Spotify, and you got to put like songs on a timeline, and you have teams. So they play you go to Spotify, there's a QR code, it plays the song. Okay. So you have to know the artist, the year it came out, and the song, and you put them on a timeline, and there's songs from like 1920 to 24.
Wow.
It is so much fun. And my family and I love playing it.
Okay. Have you played Grab the Mic?
No, but now I'm going to have to. So I'm going to have to.
It's fun. We'll talk about it offline.
Totally. But it depends on my mood. So what I'm trying to say is I love all the genres, but songs that make me happy, those are the two songs. When I do karaoke, I have sang both of those songs and have used them as walk-up music too.
I love that. Okay, before I let you go, I know people want to know where they can check you out, follow you, learn more about you. So any upcoming projects, initiatives we should be on the lookout for, or if you want to just drop your socials, tell them where they can buy your book, all that good stuff.
All right. So I'm going to just put this in the universe because I don't have the exact dates, but Kirsten, I'd like to know how you feel about walks along the Cass River, buttered noodles, and Frankenmuth, Michigan in July.
Oh, you said July. I was like, wait, what? When?
Yeah. So I'm putting this out into the universe that hopefully our schedules align because I think you need to take the stage at HRUnite 2027.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What just happened?
I'm putting it out in the universe that I want you to maybe consider taking the stage.
It's like an ambush.
At HRUnite. I'm giving you time to process.
Absolutely. All you had to do, you'd have to do that here. All you have to do is to ask me. I say yes.
Yeah, because I'm putting it out in the universe so everybody knows that I believe in karma. So HRUnite, we host an annual conference, which you know, but the rest of the people may not. We host an annual conference in Frankenmuth. Frankenmuth, Michigan is known as Little Bavaria. It has the world's largest Christmas store, which is legit over a half mile long. It is open 363 days a year. But it is like going to a German. Like they wear lederhosen, the buttered noodles are German, and many of the restaurants in part of the town is the Zender family. And the reason I picked to have HRUnite there is, first of all, Frankenmuth is near and dear to me from childhood and up, but they have a big old like Bavarian lodge. And we host our conference at this lodge because it's like going to summer camp. So it's just this atmosphere that brings people together, family focused. The Zender family is an amazing family. And so when I decided to take the jaunt into having and hosting a conference, I specifically chose there because Frankenmuth brings people together.
Okay.
And so we are in our 2026 is number 7. Okay. And this conference is also intimate by design. So we limit it to 100 HR friends, old and new. It is a national conference that brings in people, but I curate it. And so you have been, sorry to ambush you in this format, but
I've only been virtually.
I know. You have been on my mind because you do have something to say, and you know that there is when it comes to white glove, people first, all of that is about TA. Like you set the standards high, and so you have a story and insight that people need to hear. But that's what we do is we bring people together, small, intimate, bringing people together over food. When you break bread, it's just amazing. We eat real good at this conference, but 100 people and our speakers, our sponsors, and our attendees are part of that conversation. So again, it goes back to the reason we founded HRUnite, to bring people together, to support for community and connection. This conference does it. I don't have the dates yet for next year, but I'm working on that. But yeah, I'm just putting it out in the universe.
Well, tell them how to. It's too late for 2026.
Oh no! So ironically, with 2026, if you're going to be hearing this, I'm going to say before April, we have 18 tickets left. 18 tickets left for HRUnite 2026. Kat Kibben is our keynote speaker. Yeah. Oh yes, love me, Kat. And Kat's book, The Bounce Back Factor, is chef's kiss. Kat is keynote. We have Thursday's general session. So Desmond Clark, the football player, former football player, Chicago Bear. And then I have Renee Walker, who is a staple in the Detroit community. She is fierce and bold. And Sean Lee, who is a staple at HRUnite. He is part of our extended. He is an amazing human. So we have general sessions, and then we have breakouts, which include Nikki Ramirez, Christy Engler.
My favorite.
Yeah, I know. She only crosses the state line for me.
I love it.
And I make sure I alert Michigan State Police to not pull her over. Just not that she's speeding, but she is sporting Ohio State stuff. like everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but those are just some of the speakers that we have. Jamie Lewis Smith.
Okay.
But we look at holistic supporting people, and then there's always tactical information, but it's a stage not like any other. And so I am the curator. That's what I call it. I curate it. I just bring people that have something to say, or it's self-serving, that people that have something that I want to hear. And it tends to work out to everybody's.
That's why I have a podcast, so I can talk to people. So you heard it, 18 tickets left. This will post about 2 days after we recorded it. So there probably won't still be 18, but you do need to jump on it if you want to get some. That's the HRUnite conference. Can people go virtually or only in person this time?
So we are in person. There is a segment to the conference this year. We moved the HRUnite Awards to take place during the conference. That will be streamed virtually. So, and Kirsten is a prior winner of an HRUnite Award for being so amazing.
It's right
and
there,
so,
but you can't see it.
Well, that was, and I think I know who nominated her.
Christy. It was Christy.
So, yeah. But it's just a really amazing 2.5 days. And so if you're looking for a conference that's unique, you get to see big name speakers on a small stage, but really focus on those connections and holistically look at us as people and tactical from HR perspective. HRUnite is the place for you.
Yes, absolutely. So make sure, get your tickets to HRUnite, go buy the book, stop, collaborate, and listen, and come back for another new episode of part 2 of Trap Chat, the new She Suite. And also look at some of the older episodes. And I've been uploading some former, so the 2022 and 2023, 2024, 2025 episodes of Women's History Month as well. So there's a lot of information there. Make sure you come back. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Tina Marie.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Till next time. Bye-bye.